This lesson on graphing compound inequalities is no different than the last lesson. You're graphing inequalities on a coordinate grid, except now we're going to be graphing two of them on the same grid. So all you do is you do one at a time. So this 3x minus 7, your first inequality, starting at negative 7, up 3 to the right 1, up 3 to the right 1. We are doing a dotted line like we saw in the last lesson because there's no equal to sign. And we'll shade when we shade this. I'm going to shade very, very lightly, but I'm going to shade up above that equation line there. Or that equation line, that's terrible. That inequality, that dashed line. And now I can go and graph the other one. Starting at 1, the slope is 1 over 4. So 1 over 4, negative 1 over negative 4, both work. This one is a solid line, and I would be shading beneath. So basically what you have to do is you have two different inequalities that are each being graphed and shaded. The issue is now you need to figure out where does that shading overlap. So I like doing it like this. I can see I have my overlapping area coming down here, and I'll really shade it into and force this right here is where I want my answer to be. So make sure dashed line, solid line, shading is down beneath. Okay, let's look at another one here. Let's do this second problem. Y is less than or equal to 5. So here's another way you can do it. I may even say forget the shading until later. I like doing just the, okay, here's y is less than 5 or equal to 5. That's why we have a solid line, not a dashed line. Then if I switch to my other equation, y is bigger than negative 4x minus 3. I'm going to begin at negative 3, go up 4 to the right 1, or down 4 and to the left 1. This guy without the equal sign gets to have a dashed line in this case. So I might even look at it this way. I like when I do my shading going like this. I need something that is beneath the horizontal line, but above the dashed line. So which one of these four quadrants has that going on? This right here in the bottom left-hand corner is below the green horizontal line, which is good, but it's also above that red dashed line. So that's why I have to go in the bottom left section on that problem. Either way that you do number 1 or number 2 is completely fine. It's whatever strategy works best for you. Number 3, as we look at it, though, we have a bit of an issue because we don't have y by itself yet for this top equation. Well, let's just get it that way. When we subtract 2x from both sides, I'm going to have y is greater than 2x plus 6. And again, now I can graph both of our equations. So y is bigger than negative 2x plus 6. So there's your first equation, inequality I should say, and it's a dashed line. I'll worry about the shading later on this one. And for this guy, y is less than negative 2x plus 3. So beginning at positive 3, down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the right 1 the entire way. So I'm going just like this. Notice both equations have a slope of negative 2. They are parallel. That's pretty important. You'll see why here in a second. Because this first inequality said to shade above. So I want to be shading above that first inequality, but also below this second inequality. I have to look for overlap. There is no overlap. There is no solution to this problem. No solution whatsoever, because there is nothing that you can plug into those inequalities that will guarantee you that you are satisfying both of those rules. So if you don't get any overlap, that is what your problem solution is going to be. Now, dealing with these problems on a Keystone exam especially, you will definitely have multiple choice problems that ask you to match the proper graph. So you don't have to graph it at all. You're the one who has to do just the matching of what is happening. So they would give you this problem here written in blue, and they're going to ask you to solve or figure out which one of these graphs is correct. Well, first off, more often than not, you're going to be able to cancel out a couple of answers. In this case, I'm going to cancel out C and D. Reason being, my inequality symbols here, both were just greater than. No greater than or equal to, no less than or equal to, so I shouldn't have any solid lines. I have to be A or B because those are the only ones that are dashed lines. Now, the thing that people are going to look at then next is, well, hey, look, they're both greater than symbols. So I need to be shading above both lines. So it would look like letter A is the correct answer because I'm shading above both this dotted line and that dotted line. However, got to pay attention, when you would solve to get y by itself, you would have to be dividing by a negative here in this second problem. You would have added 5x, so negative 2y is greater than positive 5x minus 10, but then you would have divided by negative 2 with this guy, meaning that the sign is going to flip-flop from a greater than sign now to a less than sign. So I need to be shading above the line that starts at 2, but below the line that starts at negative 5. So I want to be above this line, but below that line. Letter B there has to be your answer. So make sure you're just paying attention whether you're shading above or below, and whether you have dotted lines or solid lines.